Today, I'm traveling to one of the biggest places to buy toys under one roof.
The Frank & Son Collectible Show in Los Angeles. I'm searching for Star Wars vintage playsets. Plus, I show you how to research Star Wars vintage while you shop, so you buy the right item at the right price.
So let's go.
Welcome back to the journey. And yes, we are indeed back at the Frank & Son Collectible Show in Los Angeles. So for those of you who don't know what that place is, here's a short history. The Frank & Son Collectible Show was created in 1988 by collectors Frank and Janet Zamaripa for collectors. It started within a 500 square foot warehouse space in the Frank & Son Warehousing and Trucking Company. In 1997, with the show's success and popularity, it was moved to a standalone warehouse that spanned the show over 65,000 square feet. This space contained the largest and best collection of vendors under one roof, always carrying the newest, hottest, and rare collectibles. The show is known worldwide and continues to grow with the support of the collectible industry, the customers, and vendors. Not only is admission free, but parking is free as well. Now, since this place is so massive, it's hard to navigate the aisles unless you have a map. And since they don't hand these out at the door, we are here to find vintage toys, especially Star Wars vintage playsets. I'm gonna scope out every single aisle and let you know not only what I find, but put it on a map so you can know where to find it when you come here yourself. So as you walk in the entrance of Frank & Son's, the first thing you notice, it's massive and overwhelming is where to start. So we're going to use this entrance area as a home base to ground us in the map that we create. And just to the left of the entrance is Dark Helmet Collectibles, and they have a great selection of both modern and vintage toys. And since I am here for vintage Star Wars, I'm going to come back here later because their selection is surely on point. To the left of Dark Helmet's booth is an alcove that has vendor booths, mostly of Pokemon cards and other card collectibles. And coming back out of this cove, we start on aisle 100. And at the end cap of aisle 100 is again Dark Helmet Collectibles with a great cave of vintage and modern toys from all lines. So much to look at from your childhood and reconnect with toys from your past. Going down aisle 100, Dark Helmet has a great display of vintage glassware. And there's some booths with comic books. And then there is booth 107 that has a great selection of hot toys from all lines, Star Wars modern action figures, and a great selection of Funkos. And going back down aisle 100, there are places for backpacks and lids. And in the second half of aisle 100, more comic book booths. And towards the end, card game collectible vendors. So now going back to the front of the store and starting at aisle 200, Dark Helmet has another case full of vintage toys from all lines. And there's also an entrance for shop 107. And then next door, you'll find Triforce cosplay and accessories. Then also on aisle 200, West Corner Supplies that has collector supply accessories for various needs. And in the second half of 200, an anime plushie store, and a backpack and LED statue light store. A booth with a massive assortment of Funkos, and I came here exactly at 9 a.m. and most of the shops open at 10 a.m. So keep that in mind when you're coming here. And going back to the entrance, we look down aisle 300. This aisle starts with a massive collection of artwork from all pop culture events, Pokemon cards, a backpack shop, and a lot of clothes shops. So you might want to think about coming here at 10 a.m. and not at 9 a.m. when they open. But getting to the second half of 300, a massive shop with the biggest assortment of Funkos I have ever seen. And at the end of the aisle, a Star Wars shop that was closed but had some pretty awesome items that caught a lot of people's eye. And starting down aisle 400, we get into a shop selling mostly Funkos and a cool shop selling a great selection of hot toys with my homeboy, Boba Fett. And also down aisle 400, another Funko shop. And down to the second half of 400, we have some anime shops, a Disney collectible shop, an anime accessory shop, and a pretty cool toy shop that had some vintage items, but nothing that I was looking for. Then going down aisle 500, we start out with an anime shop. And then an amazing shop that had the biggest selection of hot toys and statues, booth 505. So if you're into these artfully produced collectibles, definitely stop by this booth. I just unboxed my first Ahsoka, so be sure to check that episode out. And on the other side of the aisle was booth 512, and they have some great vintage items as well as modern action figures and collectibles. And in the second half of 500, an awesome shop for pop culture clothing, a great shop for Hot Wheels and diecasts, and a booth with something I love, vintage video games. And they also sell accessories and modern video games as well. And then at the beginning of aisle 600, we have the food shops here as well. Next to the Field of Dreams mural with Ronald McDonald, there is a snack bar with things to refuel you while you hunt. But bring cash. But there's ATMs here in case you don't listen to me. And next door is Mrs. Z's Kitchen. They serve breakfast items as well as lunch items so you don't have to leave to eat. And if you're enjoying the content so far, please hit the like button. That does support the channel. And also, please consider subscribing. And please visit the PadawanCollector.com where you can see blogs, bonus material, and you can visit the Collector Depot for accessories that you may need for your collection. And now, going down aisle 600, we have a booth with some awesome art and another booth with some anime-inspired collectibles. And at booth 611, one of my favorite shops here, Enforce Collectibles, and they have the best selection of Star Wars vintage in this entire show. A great selection of loose action figures, mint on cards, and some items that cost an arm and a leg, and a great selection of boxed items, as well as modern action figures. So we're definitely going to come back here to hunt for playsets that I'm looking for. So leaving booth 611, we go next door to a music shop that has a ton of vinyl records, tapes, and CDs of things that I used to listen to back in the day. In the second half of 600, there is an awesome place called SideQuest, selling cosplay, D&D items, and more. Then next to it, a great woodwork shop, a Funko and anime shop. And at the end of the aisle, a store with a massive selection of backpacks. Then at the back wall in the beginning of aisle 700, there are some amazing collectibles displayed in cases. So if you come here and need to take a break, take a seat at the displays and see if you can connect with the items in here. They are always nicely curated and I love looking at these. It's such a great touch. Going down aisle 700, this aisle is mainly for sports memorabilia collectors and sports card collectors, but the selection here in these booths are amazing. In the second half of 700, there are a few shops with great selections of vintage sports cards as well as non-sports card items. I did ask all of them if they had any vintage Star Wars Topps cards, and they did say they sell those, but there were no complete sets for sale at the moment. But ask when you're there, as they do sell those when they have them. And at the end of 700, there are more anime shops before you hit a dead end. Now, before getting into aisle 800, there's the restrooms, as well as a pretty cool display devoted to Deadpool. And going down aisle 800, this aisle is definitely for anime fans. Although there was one booth dedicated to the horror genre, and that was pretty cool. And at the end of 800, there was an autograph and meetup going on. Signing there today were the stars from the original Back to the Future movie. Actor Donald Phillylove, who brilliantly played Goldie Wilson, and the very beautiful and amazing Claudia Wells, who played Jennifer, Marty's girlfriend. It was so rad to see the fans out there to get the autographs and the pictures taken with them. And at the display before you get to aisle 900 is the best display case arrangements ever, with vintage lunchboxes, Robotech displays, cartoon and Transformer displays, a massive ode to Toys R Us, as well as an awesome case with so many collectibles from iconic pop culture lines. There's also some movie lobby Star Wars pop-ups, and the best collection of BMX bikes I have ever seen on display. Now we go down 900, and this aisle is mostly devoted to anime, J-pop, and K-pop collectibles. But there's also a pretty cool Lego shop, and a Transformer shop at the end of this aisle. And now that we've gone through the entire shop, let's go back to the two shops that we found the best Star Wars vintage in: Dark Helmet Collectibles and Enforce Collectibles. So going back to Dark Helmet Collectibles, we saw a playset that we currently need, the Jabba the Hutt Dungeon playset from 1983. And this version came with 3 action figures: Claytu in Skiff outfit, Nikto, and 88. This playset was selling for $500, and I didn't research price comparisons for this because when I took a closer look at the box, I saw a hole right where 88 is, and this will not work for me because this is a box I can't display in my collection. It's too damaged, and it takes away from the art of the box. There was another playset here, and it looked complete. It was the Droid Factory that looked pretty cool and in good shape, but no box included. And we saw this turret and probot playset being sold for $180. And I wasn't sure if that included all of the items on display or just the playset. Now, if it's just for the playset, for reference, I bought my complete loose turret and probot playset for $60 in 2021. I decided to head back to Enforce Collectibles to see what they had. They have a nice Creature Cantina Action Playset in a great looking box. And up on the top shelves, they also have a Hoth Ice Planet and a Droid Factory that I want to check out. So first we asked to see the Creature Cantina playset. And the seller took his time to show us the condition of the playset, which you should always do. And another important part of this, don't assume that the sellers are experts in what they're selling. They might be, but don't assume that. So this is what I do. I brought my laptop to the store because I want to use reference websites and the reference photos on those sites to make sure I compare those to what I'm actually getting in the store and to make sure the item is complete. So I went to a reference site to look up what came with this item. First, we have the box, and the one we're looking to get is in great shape. It's a lot smaller than I expected, as this is the first time I've ever seen this in person, but there is nothing damaged to the flaps, no shaved or cut proof of purchase. The box does have wear on the edges and corners, but nothing too bad that detracts from the look. Inside was supposed to come the instruction manual, sticker sheet, the Star Wars collecting catalog, and a We Care certificate. In the box that's being sold, all these items are missing. But it comes with the orange plastic base with all of the peg levers on it. This also comes with the orange door frame and brown swinging doors. And finally, the cardboard backdrop. And this piece is often torn, faded, folded, frayed, or not included in the playset. Most of the time, you see these sold in the wild. And although this one has some folds and wear, it's still a great example. Now in this item, the sticker on the top of the bar is torn, so I have to factor that in as well. The seller wanted $220 for it, so I went online to see what this was selling for, and we saw complete box versions being sold for prices ranging from $250 to $350. So I asked for $180, seeing that I have to buy the catalog and the instructions, and also the rubber band replacement. I've bought there before, so the seller gave me a deal based on that.
It's the Star Wars Creature Cantina that you put together.
The Creature Cantina was only released in 1979 in the Star Wars packaging and was the second release of a Cantina playset. The other was the Cantina Adventure set released a year earlier as a Sears exclusive. Compared to other playsets, the Creature Cantina was one of the only playsets not to come with the cardboard inserts that made the internal structure of the box more sturdy while shipping and displaying on shelves. It retailed for $8.99, which is $37.05 in today's prices. The major play aspects of this playset: you can open the doors to kick the droids out of the bar. You can reenact the Ben Kenobi fight with Walrus Man by placing the action figures on the levers and moving to engage them. You can reenact the argument with Greedo by placing Han on the peg lever and Greedo on the action lever. Then, by turning the lever on Han, it makes Greedo fall over. And yes, Han shot first. I had to clean this entire playset by hand as it's very fragile. You don't want this item getting dusty and corroded at all. I used fragrance-free wipes, canned air, and I made sure to lightly dust the cardboard with canned air and a lens cleaner cloth that was fiber-free. That cloth you can get at any optical store that sells glasses. So let's cross this item off our playset list. And we got this at the Frank & Son Collectible Show in LA for $180. And I also ordered an acrylic case for it from Ian's Display Accessories for $44. We left Frank & Son's with a smile on our face and after a great hunt, and now it's time to head for the exit and drive back to San Diego. If you like this content and want to make videos like these possible, please join the community on Patreon. Membership perks include early access to see videos, member-only episodes, extra entries into giveaways, member-only live streams, member shoutouts, and free digital downloads of my collector sheets and reference guides. Go to the link in the description to become a member of the Academy.
So if you found this video interesting, please hit that like button, and also please consider subscribing if you want to see more Star Wars and collecting content from me. I make videos every Sunday with bonus content like shorts throughout the week. And as always, my friends, thank you, and I will see you next time.
If you're new to the channel, check out the welcome video. Or just check out the next episode. And please subscribe if you want to follow the journey. And remember, there is no shame in being a Padawan.